Hi there. Hi everybody. Yes, I want to talk to you today about the Literacy Success Kit, or why we use it, a general overview of the kit, and then we'll get into how we use it. So the Literacy Success Kit was developed by the TDSB many years ago as a diagnostic tool for when students enter your classroom, and it's an assessment for learning. So we can figure out what students know coming in terms of their reading level and their reading comprehension skills. This assessment it's more time consuming typically than some of the other ones, and it's also a very specific assessment. Typically teachers will do the WFIS first.
Right. The Wechsler
test,
fundamentals first, right? Yeah.
And again, this is done for students between grades 4 and 12.
Okay.
So if you know a student's reading level is below grade 4 level, you would not do this. There is an alternative assessment for that. So we're assuming the students are reading at least at a grade 4 level, or their word decoding is grade 4, which you determine from the WFIS or from the Dawn Word. The Dawn Word assessment is a very similar reading assessment, or word
the word reading assessment. And there's a copy in that manual, right?
There's a copy in here.
Okay.
So you start that out, they're above grade 4, and then from that you would go about choosing the level of reading card you'd give them, but we'll get to that in a moment. But no, you would do this probably within the first week or two after you do the WFIS. This is a reading and it can be a writing assessment too. A lot of teachers I find don't use the writing assessment component because this is a time-consuming assessment.
Right.
So teachers sometimes feel like it's enough to do the reading, and that's it's totally up to you what you want to use it for. And it does just go to grade 10. So if your student is at a grade 12 reading level and they've done the WFIS and they have scored out at 12.9.
Yes. You
may find doing this redundant. You may not find it necessary for your students. Anyway, I'll get to the grade levels. So you do your Dawn Word. You find the students reading at a grade 6 level. And then what you do is you're going to look at all the reading cards, and the reading cards are organized according to levels. The first one, the earliest one, is called Scream Machines, and you know it's the earliest one because on the back it has a code for us to find. There it is. 4E, that just means it's the reading card is sort of lexiled at a grade 4 early. So September, October of grade 4.
Right?
Yeah, and so you'll notice that for this is grade 4 late. So this is the one taking it to the extreme, is 4 late.
Right.
So that's kind of matches up with the reading level.
Right.
To be honest, I find the reading levels on some of them to be a bit higher than that. I find students sometimes will even struggle with the grade 4 if they're at a grade 4 or 5 level, but it is, it's definitely worth trying with the students. So and what you do is and it goes on, and all the different ones sort of go up to grade 10 late.
Okay.
And I think Carbon Offsets is the one that's at 10 late.
Right. Get the codes.
Yes.
It's right there in the manual. It says grade 4, grade 6, and so on.
And tells you early grade, later in the grade.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
so that's two ways of kind of determining
what
the grade level is. Okay.
Right, and so if your student's at a grade 6 level, you want to have differentiation, you want to encourage student choice, you want them to be a little bit interested in what they're doing, even though it is an assessment. So you would give them 3 reading cards around their grade level. So if they're scoring out at grade 6, maybe you give them a 5 late, a 6 early, and a 6 late, and ask them choose which booklet they want to do. So say they want to do the chill. Students like this one, Chill Out.
Yeah.
Okay, nice one for wellness. So say they decide to choose this one, then that lets you know that you can go into your binder, or on Google Drive, we have the whole kit uploaded on there as well. And then you can choose the reading package that goes with that. We used to sort of give it in the maybe 3rd or 4th week of instruction.
Right. Because
we want to make sure we went over the reading strategies with the students, like summarizing, inferring, all that sort of thing. Because students hadn't had the practice, the intentional explicit instruction or practice in the reading strategies, whereas now we know they're learning them very early, and students do come into class knowing, they have a familiarity anyway with how to make an inference, make a connection. So, but I always go over those terms anyway with the students, and while they're doing it, if they say to me, what does it mean again to make an inference? You can tell them.
Right.
You're not measuring how well they can remember how to do an inference, you're measuring how well they can make the actual inference. The first thing you want to do is get the student to look at the front of the card, get them to look at sort of inside, not read it, just look at it, and then they can answer the first question.
Right.
So every card has the same first question, as they have to try and predict what it is the card or the information is about, based on the visuals, based on any charts, based on the headings. It's basically a pre-reading strategy.
Right.
You're trying to see how well they're able to do that.
And they've been doing that since kindergarten now, so that's part of the learning to read, right? So they've been through the TDSB. This is not the first time they're hearing this.
Yes.
Right.
Right. And then they can also ask questions about the text. So if they're sort of, if they ask something like, well, maybe what does it tell us about oranges? Then you're going to know that perhaps they're missing sort of the overall point of the graphic.
Okay. This format you're talking about with having a conversation with the student, that's assuming there's a one-on-one, situation here. But what if there's more than one student? If you're doing it with a small group or a class, then what would be the approach?
Yeah, you can still do the same. The most important thing is just the methodology, right? You don't want to sort of give them this and they read it and then they have the question.
Yes.
You want to make sure the first question's done properly, and you can do that en masse.
Yes.
So they all have their various books.
Yes.
No one has any idea who's reading 4 late, who's reading 10 late. No one knows that. They just have different books based on their choices.
Yes.
So you would just say to all the students at the same time, take a look, take 1 or 2 minutes, look through the reading card, put it aside, and now let's answer the first question.
Right.
So you can definitely do it like that.
You've done the activation of prior knowledge, you've had the discussion, now they're going to write it down on the sheet.
Yes.
So they have the sheet now in front of them.
Yes.
And you give them a bit of time.
That's
How long do you give them?
I think it's 75 minutes they have.
For one question?
Oh, no, sorry.
No.
The rest
So,
of the
but just you're saying they're doing the first question, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it takes for them to do.
Yeah, so the first question, so it's not very long.
They just ask, what do you think the selection's about? You want to make sure they're...
So you've had a chance to do that. So
Yes.
they would just do that question on their own, or would they now launch into the whole test?
Well, once they've done that on their own, that's good. And then you can collect it if you want, or you can put it aside, and then they would start into the rest of the assessment.
Okay, so that you have it in a format that you can just, while they're doing the rest of the assessment, you're taking a look at that first question.
Yeah.
Okay, now that's
you can do it that way.
Yeah, so you can do it, but you don't have to. You can wait until they've
done the whole
completed
thing.
it.
Yes, you do the whole thing.
Okay.
Typically, I think teachers will copy the whole thing together.
Yes.
So you might just have a look at it.
But at least with the first question, you know what I mean, you've had an opportunity to kind of engage with the student, give them a chance that they're going to be successful with that, and maybe reduce the stress around it.
I hope so.
Okay, that it's not like...
it can. I know you don't want to stress the student out with this assignment, and it does tend to be more interesting than the WFIS selections.
Now, do you tell them why you're doing this? Like, do you explain to them that it's not going on a... it's not going on a formal document, or
like any diagnostic, it's always so important to let the student know this is not for your marks.
Yes.
This is not you've just arrived here, and we want to be able to track your learning. We want to see how much you're learning. Learning is always in progress.
Yes.
We just want to be able to see, compare how you're doing now to by the end of the semester.
Yeah.
term.
So you always want to put them at ease and make them feel,
yes,
good about this, that they're not being judged or
Exactly.
whatever, marked or whatever. That
That's
this is about helping them.
Yeah, and it helps. And I always this particular assessment is so useful because it helps you sort of delineate where the issues are, because no student will will struggle with every single thing.
So you're trying to find those gaps.
You just find the gaps. You're going to say you
can focus on them.
Such a great job of questioning. Your connections were very strong. We're going to work on your summarizing skills, because I can see that's an area that we can really focus on.
Okay.
They do finish the whole assessment.
Right.
Now, that said, if a student just stops doing it and they don't want to go on anymore, you can always give it again the next day.
Yeah.
Like, it is supposed to be done in one sitting, but you can give it again if they're
over a few days, maybe,
if they're
to
willing
break
to
it
do
up.
it over a couple of days, because you just want the information.
This would be, I'm assuming, for long-term students in long-term situation, not for someone who's there for a few days.
No,
or
definitely,
a week or
it's not worthwhile doing it for a few days, because you can't actually address the information that you learn.
Yes. Yeah, so this is for programming, informing whatever instruction you're going to take on now with the student. What kind of advice would you give to them, to teachers who feel a little nervous about actually using this diagnostic assessment?
Well, I guess it's ultimately gives you information that you can use to direct teaching, and that saves time. So you're not sort of going over how to do the summary if their summaries are fine. Or you're not sort of scrambling, right?
Yes.
And I also think this can be intimidating for teachers, because there seems a lot of choice involved. It's a more interactive assessment than the WFIS, which is like, here.
Here it is, just do it.
And you can't do it, you have to step away.
Yeah, step away, you can't help.
You can't do anything. With this one, you know, they want you to help them, what does this mean, or what does this word mean?
Right.
You can still do that.
Yes.
Because ultimately you're not testing how well they're able to decode words, or you're looking at a much more holistic assessment.
So you need to, and there's that interaction, the personal kind of involvement with the student. You're actually getting to know them.
You're getting to know them, yeah, and that's the thing. And even the questions they ask you, it's giving you information.
Right.
You're saying, okay, this is where they're struggling. It's not supposed to be this is their score and this is it. It's giving you the information you need so you can take the next step of designing whatever it is you're going to do.
And it also strikes me here that, in fact, at that point you're also finding out that, you know, the student, you know, their comprehension is there, their prior knowledge is there, they have a lot of their analysis, their ability to synthesize is there, but they can't write.
Yeah.
They can't put it down on paper. So you're actually finding that out with that sort of personal interaction, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, what I'm hearing from you is that teachers shouldn't really be intimidated. Dive in.
Just do it, because you can't really make a mistake on it.
Yeah, there's no mistake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the more you do it, the more comfortable they're going to get, right? With
definitely, the more you do it, the more comfortable you will get with it. And also, like any diagnostic, and this is, you know, I don't give it to them on the first day. They sit down, or even the second day.
Yes.
You do want to try, because, you know, so much of teaching is relational. You do want to sort of look at this book. Let's talk about this. This is what's happening in the world. Develop a little bit of a rapport with them before you slam these down.
That's right. There you go.
Because
bang, as soon as you walk in the door.
Yeah, I think you try to get that feeling like, oh my gosh.
The LSATs.
Yeah, it's like no, it's just, and I tell them, it just gives me information so I can be a better teacher for you.
Yes.